Welcome to the VOD Squad. Hey everybody, we're running late, but it's the most amazing show where we get to talk about streaming and hardware and streaming services to get your streaming entertainment. Hi, I'm Matt, and today I'm joined by Jimmy.
Hello everybody.
And special guests Clyde and Mike.
Hello everybody.
Yo.
Hey, you guys aren't in your normal spot. Where are you?
We went to go get In and Out.
Oh. Hey, could you go bring me some? I could really use a burger.
It is your birthday.
Yeah, it is my birthday, and so today I'm living vicariously through you guys by and knowing that you guys are off at CES in Las Vegas, and you guys have been walking the store. Yeah, you got the sign and everything. Is that like required in every single type of bed and breakfast kind of situation?
Every hotel room in Vegas has to have a sign of the Las Vegas sign.
Oh,
that's one of three.
That's one of three in that one alone. Jeez. Hey, how you guys been doing?
Yeah, good.
How were the flights? No delays?
Don't even get me started. No delays. Well, not airline delays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely heard some horror stories about what your flight was like, Clyde, and I do not envy you and your situation.
Oh, the flight was perfectly fine. Yeah. It was the airport. What the airport was like.
Well, unfortunately, that's not much we can do for that. But hopefully, now that you're there, you can enjoy the wonderful weather and the beautiful scenes and the wonderful booths and various displays that are being shown to you at CES. And you can go ahead and give us a big report of everything going on.
All I've done since we've gotten here is eat, so I don't know what else to tell you.
Oh.
There's been a little bit of stuff in between the eating, but really the highlight.
Oh yeah, there was some napping.
Oh.
And some walking.
Lots of walking.
Lots of walking.
So how is it in general out there this year? Is it bigger than last year, about the same size as last year?
Actually,
or
how would you class that?
We were just commenting today on how it seems empty as far as people for day two.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, part of it is the fact that the big parking lot area across the street is now a giant dirt hole. So there's like no traffic outside of the convention center. And aside from a few booths, it is kind of like, it feels like a Thursday or a Friday when everybody's gone home.
Yeah, as we were coming up this morning to the convention center, we mentioned that, wow, the traffic is unusually light. But it continued all day as we went through the convention center. It was really actually very nice. We were able to quickly talk to people. We didn't have to wait in large throngs to get to a person to speak to us about the different technologies. In fact, in a lot of cases, they would come up to us without being prompted because they were not that busy.
They didn't have anything better to do. So.
Yeah. We were able to get some actual product demos, which almost never happens on day one or two. In the past, we've had to wait till later days to go back to the ones where we were most interested in because the lines would just eat up your whole day if you tried to do that. We got some pretty cool product demos, and so it was really great, but unusually slow. And as Clyde mentioned, there's a lot of construction around. So one of the big places where they set up booths and stuff was completely empty. Mm-hmm. It was just a construction hole. And the one that like Gibson usually is at across the street where Samsung had their booth, it had half as many people as
well. I mean, Gibson wasn't there. This is the first year that I know of that there wasn't a Gibson tent, and in its place was the massive Google complex that has apparently a Android assisted ride, a la like one of those Carnival fun houses.
Yeah.
So we'll check that out here in a
that was one that did have a long line.
Oh, that's why nobody was in the show, because everybody was out waiting in line to go on the Google ride.
Yeah, or to get to try to get a prize from the Google giant gumball machine.
Oh, the vending machine, yeah.
Giant vending machine. Huge lines for those two things, and crazy. I don't know why you would waste your day sitting there in line to ride a ride and try to get a prize, but I guess that's what some people are here for. So,
well, I believe what people are there for are for one of three reasons. Reason number one, they're there because they are a vendor / a seller, then they're trying to meet up and make a business deal.
Well, that's the point.
Reason number two is you are some type of news outlets trying to let everybody know about the cool stuff that's coming out of CES this year. Reason number three, Clyde's right, it's for the food.
CES means Clyde eats stuff.
And you've been sending over very, some of them are good looking pictures. Actually, really? Jack in the Box? But okay, never mind.
Oh, dude, I don't have Jack in the Box.
You don't?
No. So that's why I have to get my Jack in the Box while I'm traveling.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we should talk about some news, and I'm realizing that if I try to switch over to the various stories, we will lose all audio, so I'm just going to have to wing it. It seems like it's possible that somebody, somewhere, may have stolen your account information for your Sling TV or your DirecTV Now or PlayStation View or other style of streaming service, and that there have been a lot of reports of this coming up recently. So this looks like the kind of the story about that there's actually websites out there that are selling people's credentials, and it's been reported that you can get a stolen credential for as little as $8.81 in order to just basically take somebody else's streaming service and use it instead of your own. Basically, this is a nice little article from Cord Cutters News saying that here's the things you can do to pay attention to the problem and what you can do about it, and so. Well, this is mostly an FYI. If you're going to be going out with your service and something weird is going on, maybe you want to check out making sure all of your information is up to date and that your passwords are changed and no strange activities happening on your account.
Yeah, I find the price weird. Why $8.81? I mean, the 99 or 81 cents is to avoid additional taxes, but I doubt these people are paying taxes. So,
well, I think, this is probably some sort of like a bidding type marketplace where prices fluctuate on a variety of factors, like how many people there are, how many others are listed, right? Like, so similar to eBay, right? What are you going to list your product at to start the bidding? Probably a little less than what everybody else has it listed at, right? So I think that kind of competition is probably spurring those prices to be unusual numbers.
That's sad that there's actually that much competition to get, that the prices to go down like that. I mean, if there's competition, that means there's more than a normal amount of sellers providing this stuff. There's no kind of preset industry. Oh, well, the stolen account is $9 kind of price. There's people actually trying to cut into each other's prices. So.
Well, yeah, and I mean that it's a pretty significant savings if you think about it. I mean, what is the cheapest Sling TV package now is like $20 or $25. Yeah. But most of them sit in the $40 to $45 range. So if you can get that at $9, that's a pretty significant savings. So there's fair motivation from a user perspective to do this.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's important to note that most of the time when someone buys credentials like this, they're instructed not to leave like evidence. So don't favorite stuff, don't add profiles. So there's a good chance that you may not even know. So, I mean, obviously you don't want to use the same password for multiple platforms, because if they buy your credentials for one, they're going to try it everywhere.
Right.
They may have access to all your stuff. And the other thing is to, on a regular basis, go through and audit the devices that are listed. Like in Hulu, you can go in and see under where you add a device, you can see all of the devices that are currently associated.
Yeah.
Mine, when I looked at it, there was like 22 devices the other day, but I looked and they're all legitimate.
Right.
So,
Yeah, one thing I wonder when I read this article, right, is like, okay, I wonder what percentage of this could be just users trying to subsidize their own subscription fees, right? They're just selling their own accounts out there, right?
hey, that's a good idea. Dude.
Oh, man. Don't give them ideas. No.
I'm going to sign up
put on the
for an
internet.
account
No.
that is just for other people and then sell it for like $5 to like 20 people. Dude.
Man, if that's the case, if people are doing that, smart, but low.
And highly illegal. But hey.
Well,
I didn't read the terms of service. I didn't know.
Well, at the same time, just is it really highly illegal, or is it just breaking the terms? It's not quite that illegal, so. Oh well. Next story, we have an update to Sling TV. They've got a new interface if you're using the Apple TV. The UI includes new updates, like new updates to the grid, which provides more information as you're selecting your shows to watch. It's also giving you a way for you to manage your shows into a My Channels list, which may allow you to select very specific shows that you're interested in watching. And they also added a recordings ribbon, which allows you to add things to that ribbon with just a simple tap. I don't have an Apple TV, but these are the kind of little things that really do make these services work really well, especially for people who are not willing to work with maybe slightly more complicated solutions.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I did experience this UI update. When I bought my OLED TV, they came with a free Sling TV subscription during the month of December. So I did get to experience this. The UI is really great. I mean, there was nothing wrong with the UI, worked well and everything. The only thing that why I didn't stay with it was the fidelity of Sling TV. It was just slightly less. And maybe this attests to the new OLED television, but I could notice that the fidelity of Sling was just slightly less, just enough to where you could barely tell the difference between that and Hulu. So I was like, okay, all right. So I'm still getting, and plus there was a couple of channels that Sling didn't have that Hulu did have, right?
Right.
So I said, all right, maybe it's nearly there. I mean, it almost made me switch, right? But the UI was really quite nice. I really did like it.
Very cool.
The UI reminds me a lot of DirecTV Now, which I've always thought had the better UI.
Well, okay, the DirecTV Now on what device?
On the Roku.
Okay, because I actually tried. I remember I tried it on the Roku and it didn't look like this. It looked like crap. Maybe I was before we quit our trial.
Maybe. I mean, because it's got the same style grid, and then I don't know. Either way, I think it's about time we should probably revisit Sling anyway as a group. About 2 years.
Yeah, I feel like all of them it's been long enough. They've made enough changes that it might be worth doing some sort of exploration of those again.
Sure.
Yeah, I have to say I was impressed with it. I almost switched, from Hulu Live, and I've been with Hulu Live now for more than a year.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get to actual CES news. Are you ready for some things that I didn't expect to happen? I mean, this is the kind of thing that I was like, no way. Samsung, along with LG and Vizio and Sony have all announced new televisions which now support Apple's AirPlay 2 and supports iTunes movies built into them. This is interesting because until now there has been no non-Apple device that could be watching any of these these iTunes movies, as far as I know. I mean, maybe on Windows you could. Maybe that's the way you could from a Windows machine. But it is something that has not been available on any type of streaming device at all. Now it looks like that Apple has made some type of change in how they do their encryption. Apparently, what I've read is that they used to require a special encryption chip, but now they're allowing these hardware vendors to implement the same technology inside software. This is now making it possible for these different companies to pick up and now provide iTunes movies and music straight through the TV.
Yeah, what I think is going on here, I think this is Apple getting ready for the new service that they're going to be, starting up sometime this year, right? So I think this is just laying the foundation for that, right? So and really, if you look at it, I mean, to me, it almost seems like they're just going toe to toe with Netflix, right? They're just taking the Netflix model here and just put it on all the platforms. Have our service stream on all the platforms and all the TVs, and and they're just going to take a page out of Netflix playbook there and have it there. I think it's good.
I think this may be indicative of something that we're seeing as I walk through CES. Every single TV booth, whether it be common manufacturers that you see in America, like Samsung, LG, TCL, or whatever, or even Huawei or Qinghong that don't sell much or as much in the United States. They all have smart systems that integrate in many cases, multiple assistants and voice-activated solutions into the TVs. So I think where we're getting, and maybe this is Apple kind of acknowledging the fact that TVs don't need all of these external devices like the Apple TV. And unless Apple's going to actually manufacture a full TV itself, then they need to get on these smart TVs because there's no need for anything else. So you've got Alexa-enabled TVs. I own a Fire TV Cube, but most of these TVs, and not most, but most of the manufacturers have at least one TV or one line of TVs that integrates Alexa and or Google Assistant into the TVs themselves so that you can voice activate all of the TV functionality.
Yeah. So as far as the Netflix approach this, I would completely agree with that if they come out on the Roku or they come out on the Amazon Fire TV platform. If they come out on either of those or both, which would be bad for Apple, I mean, seriously, yes, I think that then I would say yes, they are actually trying to pull a Netflix, and that's fine. That'd be good.
I would not be surprised to see it come out on the Fire TV. Right, I mean, because
they are rubbing elbows with Amazon. Recently.
You already have Prime Video on Apple TV, so I mean, it only makes sense to also do the inverse of that, right?
Yeah. While that's possible, and while I would still say that's them trying to pull a Netflix, that would make me sad because again, I don't like the Amazon Fire TV. So.
Yeah. However, like I said, one of the things to remember, the Roku actually makes a lot more sense than like the Fire TV. And the reason I say that is because, again, integration with smart TVs, right? There are actually some Fire TV smart TVs out there, but
they're out there, but are they actually being used?
Right. But Roku, however, is pervasive to some extent. I mean, TCL has a whole line of TVs with Roku built in as the smart assistant.
And I will illustrate that point in the fact that the other day my mom called me and said, "Hey, I just picked up another TV. Can you add it to my Roku account?" And I went to log in and she couldn't find the buttons. It was just a Vizio Smart TV. She assumed that it was Roku because it's, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roku's become the term Kleenex for nose for facial tissue. Gotcha. That might be true.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we have stories about all different kinds of TVs coming out. From the first one, as I wanted to talk about, was from LG. They've announced a 8K 88-inch OLED display that's got it's got all the different audio channels from 3.2 2.2 channel Dolby Atmos audio. It's got HDR and every kind. It is absolutely a humongous panel that I have no idea how much they would ever charge for something like this, but geez, I hope you guys got to see this thing just so you can tell me, yes, it's awesome, and I can feel like my 1080p screen is gonna do me okay for a while longer.
Meh.
Ah!
So LG's 8K, in my opinion, was the least impressive of the 8K displays that we saw.
Really?
Now, mind you, it looked amazing. It was an outstanding screen.
Still 8K.
However, from a pixels perspective, even the smaller one that was like 75-inch 8K, you still could noticeably see the pixels even at like 2-ish feet away. Now, mind you, you're not watching that TV at 2 feet, so that's not really a slam. However, compare that to like the Hisense TV, and at 8, I had to get within a foot, probably close to 8 inches before I could discern the pixels on. Now, again, you're not viewing it at that kind of distance, but that just goes to show you like what kind of size you can blow it up to before the pixels start to be an issue.
And I will say that I think, even though that LG looked good, I think the TCL and potentially the Changhong 8K displays in comparable sizes look much better.
Yeah,
which is surprising.
And again, even the Hisense.
Yeah,
the Hisense actually looked really good.
Oh yeah.
So the magic question is there. What's the prices of those kind of televisions?
Oh, they don't have prices.
None of them are offering prices on the 8K TVs right now because they're not on the market as a whole, right? So since they're not on the market, and there is it Samsung that has an 8K on the market?
They have an 8K on the market. It's currently like 15K, and TCL. Theirs is similar one is going to be coming out. It should be slightly less. It should be competitive. So if Samsung's is at 15 grand right now, the TCL one should be somewhat less. So
Yeah.
$14.99, like 14 or less.
Yeah, if it's
That's an 85-inch 4K QLED TV is $14.99.
so if I don't know, in my opinion,
$14,000, not
yeah,
$1,400.
Yeah, we're not putting enough nines. It's $14.99.9.
in my opinion, if you're paying more than 8K for an 8K television, that's too much. Right?
Too much. It says it in the name how much you should be paying.
Right, exactly, 8K.
But what if it's an 88-inch?
Doesn't matter. I mean, it's twice the pixel count.
So it should be, what's 8 times 88?
Too big of a number.
Too
64,000.
So we're talking 64 grand.
Oh, goodness.
Okay.
That's hilarious. All right. Sorry. The other thing that LG announced this next couple of days is that they re-announced from last year and brought out their rollable TV again, but this time they had it in a nice final form that's going to be basically what they're going to be selling later this year. Yes, that's right. I said it's going to be for sale later this year. Yes, my prediction came out correct. All right. But the other interesting thing that I wanted to talk about this is that the rollable TV is a box on the bottom, and it rolls up from that in order to stick out of the top to provide the TV. It can roll back down into the box, leaving a top section just to show like what is currently playing on the audio. If you want to set it up for just audio only out of the box. And last but not least, interestingly enough, it's rated for 50,000 rolls before it will break, which I just did the math is about 68 years if you roll it up and down once a day.
If I was smart, I would have sent this video to you to add, but that thing was cool.
Oh yeah?
It was really cool. And I mean, I can do, like right there, you can see it kind of rolling up a little bit, but it's all washed out because I'll post it in the Discord later.
Yeah, that was a very impressive TV. It had the same visual quality as the other TVs, but having it be able to roll up and down, and the displays they had were super cool to watch. They had two different big displays around this, one where it was just the TV itself in a kind of a hidden booth, and then a series of them going up and down together in kind of a pattern that matched another series of screens running behind them. And so it made
even the one that was by itself in the booth was still integrated with the background.
Yeah.
So the things that were going on in the background were complementary, and you'd see the thing like move out, and it was crazy.
It was really cool. But that aside, I mean, it's a beautiful piece of hardware, and I would love to have something like that in my house.
Well,
I would love to pay what it's going to cost, which is going to be insane, I'm sure.
Well, a lot of people are saying that it makes sense for it to go in front of a window, which normally a television in front of a window is a bad idea. So,
yeah, that would be brilliant for my previous house, where I didn't really have any place to put a TV larger than 50 inches because the windows were always in the way. So, yeah.
And I mean, realistically, when it rolls up, it doesn't look like that big of a TV.
No.
I was expecting something much bigger. So, I mean, it was what, 65?
75, I think.
It wasn't 75? It didn't seem 75.
It's in that giant room, right? So it's hard to judge scale, but I'm pretty sure.
And it was also down on the ground. So then when it raises up, if a 75-inch TV is this tall, it's only that far off the ground. So
I do like the idea of being able to have different things happening on the screen, like different levels of elevation, like you said, having it slightly open to see just the song that's playing.
And they did show that the video was playing as they rolled it up and rolled it down. So it doesn't like turn off before. You can basically, when it's unrolling, it's already playing. So it was really cool.
Yeah, it's a great television for millionaires.
Yes.
That's right. That's why I'm going to get one in 20 years. Sounds about right. I'll be even older.
If I had saved every penny that I have ever made, I might have been able to get one like 10 years.
Maybe. That's possible. Another thing that happened just before CES is that Amazon, of course, came out with their information saying, "Hey, everybody, we want to let you guys know that our Amazon assistant, known as Alexa." Okay, that should be long enough. We have it in 100 million listening devices that you can use right there, which sounded like a pretty impressive number. Until Google decided the next day to say, "Oh yeah, we have Google Assistant in 1 billion devices." Anything you can do, I can do better. Apparently,
it's like, that's nice, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have had Dr. Evil announce that, right?
Yeah. 1 billion devices. I mean, obviously we knew this effectively because every Android phone has it built in.
And pretty much every car that is produced now has it. You've
got 700 or 800 million Android Android phones in the world.
80% of the world market.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
as soon as Microsoft and Amazon get together and put the Amazon Assistant in every copy of Windows 10, that's another 50 billion, right? So the numbers are just—they're gonna be, playing off.
Yeah,
each
but
other.
you don't hear Microsoft bragging about how many people have Cortana.
They could. If they were ruthless,
They could, but then they would
could be.
immediately get slapped down because, well, how many people actually use it?
Right.
Five people use it.
Even less
And
now
they're
because
all
they turned that
employees.
off. So.
Yeah, Apple doesn't brag about Siri for a similar reason. People use Siri on their phones, but the only people that use Siri on their MacBook Pros is the ones that accidentally push the Siri button on the stupid magic bar.
On the tragic bar?
On the tragic bar, that's right. Oh, I hate that button. Siri's always popping up on me because I brush against it somehow, and so yeah, they have the same. In my opinion, they have the same problem.
And now is the point where Jimmy says, "Hey, I use it."
I do use Siri, but
On your MacBook
I don't. Yeah, well, my MacBook Pro doesn't have that. It's an older one, so I don't have that little thing there. Yeah.
But you wouldn't use it anyways because you'd use it on your home device or on your.
I mean, you guys know I'm a big Apple guy, but I have to say those new laptops, I'm not too impressed with those. And if I were to buy a new one, I'd buy one without that magic bar or whatever.
You just buy a Windows PC and Hackintosh it.
No, I would buy one of the other laptops. They got those new MacBook Airs. Those look pretty good. If I wanted a laptop.
They just don't have the processing power that I got mine. So.
Well, yeah, but that's what I got my desktop for.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to upgrade my desktop. That was my goal. Anyway, yeah, 1 billion devices. Wow.
Well,
impressive, but it's not a surprise to anybody, I don't think.
I still say, and every day Google, I think, proves me right, that the Terminator was close. The thing they got wrong is it's not robots, it's androids. Androids are going to be but yeah, so I believe that Google is the real life analog to Skynet.
Right. Yep. I think you're right.
Prove me I'm wrong.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a fair assessment. That's probably going to be true.
TCL announced that they're coming out with a whole bunch of new televisions as well. They've been doing their wonderful 6 series, and now they've announced they're kind of coming out with a new 8K line called the 8 series. And it comes out with a bunch of different sizes, everything from up to 75 inches, and upscaling of 4K. But the most interesting piece that I saw on this is that it's got a very cool idea where they are actually putting a second LED screen behind the 4K or 8K screen, where they're actually making it a black LED, which is intended to black out the backlight behind the LEDs, so that they can get what they're calling quantum darkness or something like that, quantum contrast. Which
the way they explained that though at the booth was different in the fact that it was saying that they could adjust the brightness and the contrast because it's using a combination of both backlit and edgelit.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they are, but also that they have this extra layer of LED, which is intentionally blocking the light when they need those dark sections of the screen. And from what I heard on the Daily Tech News show today with Robert Harrant on there, it looks amazing for what you can get out of it, and he's really excited about it. So
there's a reason. There's a reason. Earlier I was saying I preferred the TCL over the LG. I mean, they're great. They look good, and the big surprise is they're going with a quantum dot over the OLED, but
that's
look forward to this.
You know that they are the budget brand, and so the OLED is the more expensive solution for right now. So that's what they're going to have to do.
Yeah.
So I have one more story about Actually, this is not the last story, but this is the story about but it's not CES related. I don't know why it's here. So this last couple of weeks, this last week, there's been a hack out there for people who own Chromecasts. And if you had a Chromecast and your router was set up to allow plug and play, uh, which, by the way, you should not have installed the plug and play setting in your router. Turn that off immediately. People would literally hack in remotely through that plug and play service on your router and enable your Chromecast to display a video which basically says, "Hey, you're hacked, and you should subscribe to PewDiePie." Which, if you don't know, is this fairly famous kind of crude video gamer on YouTube/Twitch, and apparently all the supporters are very upset that he may or lose, or he has already lost his #1 status on the internet due to another company somewhere trying to outdo him for #1 spot in the world. I don't care.
Well, he lost his status for some terrible things he said on his
that's
screen.
true too. He's
that damaged his brand more than anything. And yeah, you gotta deal with the choices you made, dude.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, and the last stories I have is that we've had some announcements for DVRs that were announced. First is a new HD Home Run DVR that if you use it with an HD Home Run capture card device, it will be easily hook up and allow you to capture all kinds of easy to use stuff. It includes a hard drive built in. Get 1,000 hours of stuff off there, and you will be able to also pick up at home. They also have their own home run service that they allow, which picks up some of those oddball channels in there as well. So 2 terabytes of storage available in one of them, dual tuners available in these. This is a pretty, and there's also a 6-tuner version as well. So I've used the home run for when I had Comcast for the home run that would let me pick up that, and their interface is very good for what it is. Nice and slick, easy to use. It picks up all the channels very easily. I'd be interested to see how this DVR works in the future. I'm kind of curious about it. The other one that came up is one from Tableau. Now this one's interesting because Tableau has been trying to break into this market for a little while. They have their own Tableau over-the-air DVR, but this one can also automatically detect and skip your commercials that it records, which is the best feature ever. This one is also a dual tuner unit that they're picking up. It has and it only takes a external USB hard drives. But for a low-cost device, and I think you can pay either a monthly fee or a lifetime fee, you can get the service on this device to get yourself able to record anything over the air and skip the commercials, which is awesome. So the home run versus Tableau, what do you guys think? Which one seems to be more interesting? The home run with the nicer interface and the streaming service built in?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we'll figure this out in the upcoming OTA DVR shootout that was requested.
Yep. We're going to have to figure out ways of testing these. And these two new ones seem to be hot ticket items for us to look into. So.
Yeah.
Last OTA story is a story about TiVo. Looks like that they've got apps now that let you watch your TiVo on your watch it live TV on your Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku boxes now. Yay! Yeah. That's actually what we wanted a long time ago. What took so long?
Yeah, I think they would have been good like maybe, 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I guess better late than never. I don't know. Does this excite you guys?
They're finally doing the thing that Sling forgot how to do.
Right. Well, and it's got this market where the OTA, it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of becoming a forgotten thing because, if you can get a streaming service and get all your stuff using YouTube TV or using Hulu Live, you don't need this as much anymore. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually any less popular. I think just people are currently, got a solution that works for them. But I am curious about these new ones, and I'm also gonna try again to see what I can get over the air from my house, even though I've got a hill on the way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what I can do.
I think the biggest issue with over the air is that over the air is difficult, right? Like, if you're legitimately trying to do over the air, if you don't live in an optimal place, you're going to have a hard time getting all the channels you want with one antenna. And so then you end up starting to go into more complex solutions. And a lot of people just aren't into that. They're not technically savvy enough, or they just don't want to spend the time and energy. And so in order to actually get over the air and have a good experience with it, it's more challenging and more difficult than most people are capable or willing to do. And so you end up having the swath of people that they have over the air because they have literally no other option, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's going away. Those people, to a large extent, are just not watching their local channels, and they're paying a few bucks a month to get just Netflix. Mm-hmm. And they're going with Netflix alone, or with some of the other free solutions. What's the
Roku,
Pluto TV.
Well, you've got Pluto, you've got the Roku channel, you've got Tubi.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reasonably large number of ways for less than $15 a month that you can get a fairly good amount of stuff to watch and be entertained with. Not to mention that you've just got YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that. So I think over the air is just kind of, it's on its way out the door, in the sense that the only people that are going to be still using it are the people that just don't have any other option. They can afford a TV, or they don't have good internet service, but they happen to be in a place where they just somehow get good over the air. Otherwise, I tried over the air in my location, and I only got half the channels without having to physically move the antenna.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's places that aren't possible. Like my parents, right now, they've got the parsonage where they live, and then they've got the house that they're planning on moving to when they retire soon. And at the new house, yeah, they get plenty of channels. At the other place they live up by Canada, there is literally not one channel available over the air.
Yep.
And yeah, so.
But they have internet.
They have internet, but they have such low bandwidth caps.
Yeah.
That's been a problem too.
So,
yeah. And but the cable company has a stranglehold on them up there, because that's the only option they have. Can't even go satellite. I don't think.
Well,
but, yeah.
In very rural areas, the most, like Africa and things like that, the internet is on a USB stick. You can go to town, pay somebody a couple $, pick up a USB stick. It has the most popular movies and the most popular news stories of the week and other things, and just plug it in, use it, and then you go back and you can trade it in for another one.
Tell them for $5, I will sell them a Netflix credential.
That sounds good. It sounds like a good deal. All right. Well, that is, in fact, our entire news for the week. If you guys had anything else that you want to talk about for CES otherwise, or was that about it?
I mean, we got to see a bunch of stuff. Hisense had, I've talked previously about their laser projectors, the short throw on the wall that I absolutely love. They now have on display basically every incarnation that they've made. And they keep getting better. They're awesome. I would love to have one, but they are not cheap.
Yeah,
you're looking at like $12,000 for like the one that's already out in the market from 2 years ago.
They're still very expensive. I mean, they're big TVs, right? They're 90
you can
inches
do up to 120-inch screen, depending on the.
That's 100-inch. That was for
the small one. The small one was 100-inch, and it includes the screen.
Yeah.
So I mean
And the
that
sound system too is integrated into that.
the one that's already on the market, yes.
Yeah.
And it's already in. So I mean, 12 grand, you get the whole shebang, right out of the box, and it sounds awesome and it looks awesome. But yeah. What about you?
Those are pretty cool.
What's your favorite thing?
I have a hard time pointing to one particular thing that I was totally stunned by. Perhaps my favorite thing was the
hand clapping robot, which I posted in the Discord. If you haven't seen it, go to the Discord. There is a hand clapping robot that made me laugh maniacally and hysterically as I was terrified.
It is equal parts terrifying and hilarious.
It wasn't hilarious. It was 100% terrifying.
It makes you question what is going on in the world for a moment. You're just like, am I on candid camera? Have I lost my mind and I'm actually in a mental institution with glass and whatever unbreakable guy?
And what did the Australian guy say?
Only the Japanese could come up with this.
Well, remember, the Japanese are actually a people who are living in a post-apocalyptic world. So.
Oh yeah, they are, and that's why they're so advanced. They're welcome.
Yep. Oh, ouch! Careful there.
Yeah, the two things that was pretty amazing. The two things that really stood out the most to me were probably the Hisense 4K 75-inch TV. That looked it just, I mean, it's still only 4K, but it was probably the best looking 4K TV I've seen. It absolutely rivaled the OLED displays as far as image quality and stuff, and at a price that was far more reasonable. I mean, they didn't have the price out. It was the U9 that's coming out in just a couple of months, but they indicated that would probably be somewhere in the vicinity of like $1,000 to $1,200 for this 75-inch TV.
Yeah, and this is not the low end that most people would associate with Hisense. They have some higher end stuff that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So this would be the LG or big three competitor.
Yeah.
Great TV.
Yeah. Also, the most intriguing thing in the LG section was their phone. Was that the V40?
Oh yeah, the V40.
That was actually a pretty impressive piece of hardware.
From the Samsung guy.
Yeah, I've had Samsung phones for quite a while. I'm a Samsung fan as a general rule, but it was a little bit better. It didn't have the curved glass on the front, which I absolutely abhor, and is the thing that makes me the most frustrated with all of the new phones that are coming out.
It essentially took all the best things from my V30 and then undid the things that they got wrong with the V30, like the glass back and the curve. They went back to a textured plastic and got rid of the curve, and it's great. But they kept the amazing DAC.
Yeah, sound. They had some really high-end headphones there that you could listen. And I plugged my phone into the headphones, listened to the song that they had playing, and then switched over to theirs and listened to the song. Now I'll be fair that I was playing on Amazon Music and they were playing on Tidal, so theirs was probably like a lossless format.
But to their credit, you hadn't even really done anything with that DAC. It was just turned on. You hadn't gone in and turned on the 3D and chose an equalizer setting or done any of the cool tweaks that you can do.
I mean, the biggest thing to me was the fact that it was able to push those high-end headphones. So one of the problems with a lot of cell phones is that the headphone amp that's built in puts out very little power. And so with a high-end set of headphones, you don't have enough power to actually listen to those at decent audio level, so you can barely hear it. So that was what I experienced. I plugged in mine. It sounded good because they are great headphones, but the volume level was very low. Switched back to theirs, Sounds amazing. The volume level's much higher, and the sound quality, just as a general rule, was better. So very impressed by the sound quality. It had multiple cameras on it. I liked the demo that she gave us. She held it up and pushes the button, and it goes doot, doot, doot. And then she says, "Okay, everybody smile," and it's doot, doot. And so what it did is there's 3 cameras on the back, and then there was 2 on the front. And so what it did was it took a picture with each of the 3 cameras. One's a standard lens, one's a telephoto zoom lens, and one's a wide
angle
lens. And then on the other side, there's a standard lens and a wide angle lens. And so it takes all 3 of those pictures, boom,
all
boom,
5.
boom, boom, all 5 of them, yes, in a row, and allows you to like do all kinds of cool things. But the thing to me was you get to take all those pictures, or you could do just the 3 on the back or whatever, and get various different shots of the same scene.
Right.
And then choose the one that works the best.
Yeah. See, and with that, people ask, why do you need 5 cameras? Number one, Murica answer is because I can.
More
right?
is better.
But it's better than 1, dang it.
But the true answer is, up until now, you've tried to do your one camera and get it to be the best of all worlds. You want a zoom, you want wide angles. They said, forget trying to do that. Let's just have a really good telephoto lens, a really good wide angle lens, and a really good just general purpose lens.
Right.
And yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, as I go to take photos, even like at CES or whatever, I'm always going, okay, this is what I see. Okay, go back, go forward, go around, and you have to adjust everything by placement and movement of the phone. Whereas with that, it's like, oh, I want to be zoomed in a little bit more. Click, switch to the correct camera. You don't have to take all 3 pictures, but you can say, I want to be zoomed in, I'll use the telephoto lens. Or I want to get this whole display, let me switch to the wide angle lens, right? And
which is what I already do.
It's really impressive.
The one thing, though, that it does improve on that, if you're a current V30 or a G user, you have the 2 options for close or further. It gives you a preview now. If you hold down on it, it'll show you what the picture will look like of the one of the 3 settings. So, okay. Yeah, I wanted a V40 just because it's one better than my V30, but now I want it for other reasons.
Yeah, lots of cool features built into the phone. It looks very impressive. I may be switching over to an LG phone. We'll see.
We will welcome you with open arms.
I've seen that LG phone. I believe my good friend at work has bought it, and he's absolutely in love with it too. Especially since I think he got it for a steal of like $400 on Black Friday. So.
Oh, yeah, I will say the one thing that makes me really sad is, as he was talking about, my V30 has that high fidelity DAC, but I never use it because I'm always using Android Auto, which comes out of the USB, so that doesn't go through that DAC. Nope. Which makes me sad because I'm almost never listening with headphones.
And you're a sound guy, so you like that good stuff.
All right. I do.
Well,
so Mike just took 3 extra lenses to convert you to LG, huh?
Yeah.
Jimmy, I'm pretty sure that if you played with one of those phones, you might be switching to LG too.
Yeah, well, I have to say, I'm becoming an LG fan, no doubt, because, my TV is LG. You can't see it, but I've got a second monitor in my office now. It, too, is LG. So I'm starting to warm up to LG quite a bit.
Phones are the only thing that I ever use LG. I've had bad luck with their TVs, but they were the low end.
Does your LG TV have the WebOS system on
it? No, it has Android TV.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I love my my LG TV with the WebOS and stuff. It's a great TV. I never use the WebOS because I'm using the Fire TV Cube now predominantly, but It is a great TV. Very happy with it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm using several LG products in the house. It makes sense to get an LG phone if it's the best phone on the market. It looks like
absolutely.
it might.
Yeah, I mean, I still carry an iPhone for my daily driver, but I've been very close over the last couple of years of just picking up an Android phone just to have as a secondary phone, right? So yeah, let me know how you like that. Maybe that'll be my secondary phone.
All right.
All right. Well, we're running a little long, so I'm going to take a moment here to say thank you very much for watching with us, because we like doing this, but also we like being here for you. And that's because if you want to, you can provide your feedback and your support by going to patreon.com/thevodsquad and providing us with your way of telling us, yes, what you do is amazing, and also, I want to be your boss. So, if you want to be our boss, head on over there, provide us with any kind of donation. We'll take anything from $1 or whatever you can afford. And then come by at our Discord and tell us something that you want us to do that's reasonable. And very likely, we're going to do it. For example, we've been talking about this DVR thing, and we are looking into doing it because that has been a request by one of our Patreons.
The Discord was a patron request.
Yes, it's so.
But I will say we love getting feedback and, from everybody, but the patrons speak the loudest.
Yes, they do.
They're like, it's almost like the voice of God. You can't ignore it. You can't not hear it.
It's funny about people who actually give you money. For some reason, you want to.
I know.
Things.
It's funny how that works.
It's weird. I don't get. It's weird. I don't understand. Anyway, patreon.com/thevodsquad if you're interested. And other than that, I think we should move on to the movie draft.
Welcome to your Movie Draft Minute, presented by DiamondClub.tv for the week of January 7th, 2019. I'm your host, Big Voice Jay. Man, I saw some weird stuff downtown last night. Sick, strange, twisted, evil stuff. I bought it all. Let's go to the scoreboard. Team Von Squad's in last place with $299.3 million. Team Movie Party's in fifth place with $379.8 million. Team Game Night is in fourth place with $399.6 million. Team Retro Misery falls to third place with $483.3 million. Team Drunk Edge Gaming moves up to second place with $513.2 million. And with $585.6 million and first place for another week, it's Team Have a Drink. That's your Movie Draft Minute. All totals are accurate as of January 9th, 2019.
So, here we are. We are now at our wind of our movie draft. It's coming up to the end, and it's pretty clear that we're toast here at the VOD Squad.
So, I'm going to take a moment for a public service announcement. I want everybody to be aware that coming up in just a couple of weeks is the remake of the Firefly sequel, Serenity, the movie. You all need to go
Somebody
see it.
shut him down, because there's gonna be blowback. And anybody that takes his suggestion is gonna hate us forever. I know I would.
Bring back Firefly.
That's not true. But Robin Hood's already out. You can go see it.
Yes.
Nobody's gonna go see Robin Hood. Nobody did see Robin Hood. So
Tell everybody to go see Vice.
People can go buy Robin Hood. It's already in the stores.
Okay, that's what I said. You should be directing people to Vice. It's actually in the theater. It's actually apparently pretty good, and it's doing okay for you. I mean, it's doing.
It's got 31 million.
It's doing better than El Royale.
Yeah, it's not
right?
doing better than Second Act, your movie that you got. Yeah.
It's almost as good at. It's almost doing Goosebumps money.
Yeah, it's slightly better.
Which is better than First Man.
It's slightly
that
better than Holmes and Watson. Let me put it that way. Which
I mean, yeah.
No, it's pretty
This is
clear that we're
interesting.
not gonna win this. But looking at the numbers, it's gonna be have a drink unless game night pulls off a huge amount of money with Glass. That's the question, and I don't think
I'm gonna pull in another $2 million in the next couple weeks.
You're not gonna catch up to game night with Glass, so you're pretty solid right there in 5th place.
Oh, I meant 200 million. Sorry.
Oh, really? I don't think so.
On the basis of sex, when people realize that it's out.
No. From the residuals of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I mean, Bumblebee's already at 100 million. Spider-Man is gonna hit 150.
Yeah, Spider-Man it's a little disappointing because I mean, this is honestly about what I expected. I expected 100 to 125.
Well, I was expecting around 150, and everybody said I was crazy because it's a direct to DVD movie.
Yeah, but it's definitely not. It's a phenomenal movie.
I mean, much better from what I can hear than Aquaman. So this is the year that 2 movies that everybody admits is pretty terrible for many reasons are the top 2 grossing movies.
Aquaman and Venom.
Yeah.
Is Aquaman bad? I haven't heard anything.
It's got, I mean, there are things that they're like, okay, this is the best they could have done.
Yeah.
But there are things that are like, seriously.
I've heard a lot of people say Aquaman, by the time you get to the point where it's absolutely ridiculous, if you bought into it, it's great. If you haven't, it's like, okay, I get it. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
So
It was.
And everybody's calling it the octopus playing the drums moment. And if you can get through that, and if you laugh at that, essentially, you're fine. You're gonna love the movie, and so.
To quote Brian Brushwood, he said, "Watching the movie, it was tough to get through. When it was over, he was glad he saw it."
Yeah, I felt the
so
same.
there are points, and even Jerry said it was like a point where you're looking at your watch going, wait, we've still got another hour?
Oh, geez.
Or you're like an hour and a half in and you haven't even gotten to the point where you should have an hour left. So
sorry, the only other movie that I think of that I was tough to watch but I was glad to see was Castaway, and I never want to see that movie again. Tom Hanks doing his own dental work with a skate, an ice skate. Ugh, never mind. All right. Go ahead.
I thought Aquaman looked interesting. I did want to see it, but things got in the way. This has been a season where there's been a lot of good movies out, and all of them, with the exception of Aquaman and Venom and The Grinch.
I mean, seriously, Johnny English, what happened?
Yeah, he got 4 million. Maybe that's
I know,
than,
what happened?
That's more than On the Basis of Sex.
It should have been 400.
Just 400 flat?
$400?
No, 400 million.
Oh, okay.
400 million.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and and find out what you guys think about your rants and raves. So I want to know, what do you guys got for rants or raves this week? And Clyde, you're not going to be last this week. I am. So do you want to go first?
Maybe I'll go first. So there was a story that I was alerted to about how AT&T decided that they were going to be they were going to be 5G, that they are already 5GE.
Oh, yes. And for those who don't know, of course, Clyde doesn't think we're even 4G yet.
Oh, we're not. I mean, there is a specification that was agreed upon by a body of deciders, and 4G doesn't even meet the basic standard of the specs. So, but yeah, so AT&T they came out and said that they're offering 5GE, and rightfully so, the internet piled shame upon them. There was even I'll put a link to the article in the chat, but I mean, there was T-Mobile even went so far to do a video of a disembodied thumb putting a 9G sticker on one of their products. Is the butt of all the jokes, which they should be, but they should all be the butt of every joke for even claiming that they have 4G. So,
Okay.
Makes me glad I switched to T-Mobile 3 years ago.
All right. You guys got anything else?
No, I mean, I feel like I ranted sufficiently with the, or I raved sufficiently with the products from CES and stuff. So.
All right. Hey, do you have anything, Jimmy, that's going on this week?
Yeah, so I'll talk about what I'm watching here recently. So, if you've listened to the show, I'm a pretty big fan of The Man in the High Castle. They've got season 3 out. It's been out for a while, but I've just now gotten around to watching it, and I've gotten through all but the last season, or the last episode, rather.
Oh.
So really enjoying that. If you're a fan of the show, season 3 is really good. I would even say that season 3 is probably the best season yet, right?
Okay.
That I've watched. So it's really strong in the third season.
So the first one basically follows the book, and then the second one apparently expands upon that. Did you like both of those as well? Were they both
I like
strong
both.
seasons?
I like both of those as well. But now in season 3, they were a couple of things that they didn't do in season 1 in the book. And they came back and revisited those in season 3.
Ah, okay, very cool.
Right. So that's one of the reasons why I liked it.
Very cool.
Right.
I have not seen anything but the first episode. I did watch the first episode. I go, okay, I could probably watch this, but we never got back to it. So I might pick that back up again.
Yeah. I mean, it's an alternative reality type thing, right? So it's got that element to it. But, it's pretty well done. It's got some actors in there that you'll recognize. None of them are like, primetime, A-player actors, but it'll be actors you've seen in other shows and other movies, right? But it's all well done, and the storyline, especially in this third season, was really strong. The first two, I enjoyed those. They were... not as strong as the third. I think the third season is the strongest season yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I only have one thing to rave about, which is my birthday present. One of my birthday presents I got today was I got myself a Nintendo NES Classic, which as soon as we're done with this today, I'm going to go back downstairs. It's just the empty box, but go downstairs and play myself some Super Mario 2, I think, for about an hour before I go to bed tonight. Thank you very much to my family members who got me that. And they got me the extension cables for the controllers, which, is also really nice to not have to sit that close to your TV. Nintendo, what were you thinking? Anyways. Well, it's been a fun show, and I'm trying to remember how we end this.
Oh, can I say something real quick?
Oh, sure.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Hey.
Matt.
Thanks for driving today while we're out of town.
No problem. I don't mind taking the wheel every once in a while. Just remember that when I drive off the road a little bit, it's only because I'm not as experienced as you are.
Just so everybody knows, Matt gave up his birthday dinner so that he could make sure he was home and set up so that we could do this. So all hail goes to Matt. For those of you that are watching this after the fact, we get together every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central on Twitch. And also if you have any comments, concerns, you just want to shout at us, you can reach us on Twitter at the Bod Squad, or we've got our Discord server. Give one of us a shout and we can point you in that direction. Again, patrons have access to a little bit more on the Discord, and also their voices get a little bit louder. So that is patreon.com/thebod squad. Stick around, guys. The after show, we got to select some titles. But until then, I think we can go ahead and end this.
Ready? We're done. All right.
We're done.
All right. See you guys next week.
Laters.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.